Your soulmate is meant for you, but first, you must choose integrity over desire. Sometimes life introduces you to a soul that feels ancient to yours, as if you have known them before time had a name, and the connection is so immediate, so deep, that it shakes the foundation of everything you thought you understood about love, destiny, and timing. You meet them and something inside you whispers, "This is it." Not because of how they look or how perfectly they fit into your world, but because your spirit feels recognized. Yet reality stands between you like a quiet wall. They are already married, already committed, already living a life that does not include you in the way your heart longs for. And that is where the real story begins. Because true love is not proven by possession, it is proven by restraint. When your heart pulls you towards someone who is not free, you stand at a crossroads between desire and integrity. Desire tells you that soul connections are rare and should be chased at any cost. Integrity reminds you that sacred bonds are not meant to be stolen. You begin to realize that maybe this connection was not sent to test how deeply you can love someone else, but how strongly you can stand by your own values. It hurts in a way that is difficult to explain, because the pain is not about rejection, it is about recognition without permission. You see what could have been, you feel what might have existed in another timeline, and yet you choose not to interfere with what already is. And that choice does not make you weak, it makes you powerful. It means you understand that love built on someone else's broken promises cannot become a blessing in your own life. If they are truly meant for you, then life will rearrange itself without you having to cause destruction. If they are not, then this connection was never about possession, it was about preparation. Perhaps you had to meet them to understand the depth of your own heart, to awaken parts of yourself that were asleep, to learn that you are capable of loving in a way that is pure and selfless. Because loving someone you cannot have, yet refusing to cross boundaries, is one of the most mature forms of love there is. You start to see that soulmates are not always about endings together, sometimes they are about lessons that shape you into the person your real destiny requires. You stop asking, "Why did I meet them if I can't have them?" and instead begin asking, "Who am I becoming because I met them?" And the answer slowly unfolds. You are becoming someone who chooses dignity over desperation, someone who understands that timing matters just as much as connection, someone who believes that what is truly yours will never require you to compromise your character. In quiet moments, when the longing feels heavy, you remind yourself that integrity is also a form of love, love for yourself, love for the sacredness of marriage, love for the unseen plan that may be working beyond your understanding. You refuse to be the reason someone else's foundation cracks, because you know deep down that any love story that begins with betrayal carries the weight of that betrayal forever. So you step back, not because the feelings were fake, but because they were real enough to deserve respect. And in that space between wanting and choosing, you grow. You become the kind of person who does not chase what is unavailable but prepares for what is aligned. You realize that maybe your soulmate is not the one who is already taken, but the one who is praying for someone exactly like you, someone who would never destroy a home to build their own. And that is where the deeper truth reveals itself. Before you can receive the love written for you, you must become the person worthy of protecting it. Every moment you choose restraint over impulse, you are shaping your future. Every time you silence the urge to claim what is not yours, you strengthen your spirit. Love is not just about intensity, it is about integrity. It is about patience. It is about trusting that what is meant for you will arrive without chaos. And maybe one day, whether it is them in a different season of life or someone entirely new, you will stand in a love that does not require secrecy, guilt, or sacrifice of your morals. Until then, you hold your head high. You honor what you felt, but you honor yourself more. You understand that destiny does not need manipulation. If two souls are truly written for each other, no circumstance can permanently separate them. And if circumstances keep you apart, then perhaps the purpose was growth, not union. So you let the connection refine you instead of define you. You let it teach you patience instead of pushing you toward recklessness. You choose to believe that the right love will never ask you to become someone you are not proud of. And in doing so, you transform from someone chasing a soulmate into someone becoming one. And as time moves forward, you begin to understand that becoming the right person is far more important than finding the right person, because destiny does not just connect two hearts randomly. It aligns two prepared souls at the exact moment they are strong enough to protect what they receive. You start reflecting on yourself in ways you never did before. You ask harder questions. Are you emotionally stable enough to carry someone else's vulnerabilities? Are you healed enough to love without projecting your past wounds? Are you disciplined enough to stay loyal when attraction fades and life becomes ordinary? Because soulmate love is not constant fireworks, it is consistency, sacrifice, patience, and responsibility. And maybe the reason you met someone unavailable was not to tempt you, but to awaken you. To show you the depth of connection possible so you stop settling for surface-level attention. To show you the kind of emotional maturity required to sustain something sacred. Instead of obsessing over why they are not yours, you start focusing on who you are becoming. You channel the longing into growth. You build your discipline, your faith, your purpose. You work on your character when no one is watching. You learn to sit with your loneliness without filling it with distractions. You develop standards not out of ego, but out of clarity. Because the truth is, the love meant for you will require strength. It will require a version of you that does not crumble at distance, insecurity, or temptation. It will require you to trust even when fear whispers otherwise. And so you train your heart now. You learn to detach with grace. You learn to admire without claiming. You learn to love without possession. These are not weaknesses, they are spiritual muscles being built quietly. You realize that soulmate love is not about chasing a specific face, it is about aligning with a divine timing that cannot be forced. If you try to rush it, you risk damaging something that needed patience to bloom. So you slow down. You surrender your timeline. You stop begging the universe for one particular person and instead pray to become the person your future partner has been asking for. Somewhere out there, someone is hoping for a partner who values loyalty over thrill, depth over drama, peace over chaos. Someone is praying for a love that feels safe. And if you want to meet that person, you must first embody those qualities yourself. You cannot demand emotional availability if you are still addicted to unavailable people. You cannot ask for honesty if you are not honest with your own flaws. You cannot expect divine love while entertaining temporary temptations. Growth becomes your focus. You refine your habits. You strengthen your faith. You protect your energy. You stop romanticizing pain and start romanticizing peace. Because the right love will not feel like anxiety, it will feel like alignment. It will not require you to compete with someone else's vows. It will not place you in moral confusion. It will arrive clearly, cleanly, confidently. And when that day comes, you will realize why every situation before it had limits. You will understand why certain doors never opened fully. You will see how those boundaries protected you from becoming someone you would not respect. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is walking away from what feels intense but is misaligned. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is wait without bitterness. You keep building yourself quietly while others chase chaos. You become so grounded in your principles that temptation no longer controls you. And in that transformation, you shift from being someone searching for a soulmate to someone magnetizing one. Because soulmate energy is not found, it is matched. It is mirrored. It is attracted by similarity in values and readiness. If you are impatient, you will attract impatience. If you are insecure, you will attract insecurity. But if you are disciplined, healed, and intentional, you will attract the same. That is why this season of waiting is not punishment, it is preparation. Every time you resist what is not meant for you, you are saying yes to something greater. Every time you choose integrity, you are strengthening the foundation of your future marriage. You are proving to yourself that your character is not negotiable. And that confidence will carry into the love that is written for you. One day, when you stand beside the person who is truly yours, there will be no guilt, no hidden conversations, no moral confusion. There will only be clarity and gratitude. You will look back at the connections that did not align and thank them for shaping you without breaking you. You will understand that soulmate love is not stolen, it is given at the right time to the right version of you. And that version is being built right now in silence, in patience, in discipline, in nights where you choose growth over obsession. So keep becoming. Keep refining. Keep trusting. Because what is truly yours does not need to be chased desperately, it will recognize you the moment you are ready, and when it does, it will not threaten your integrity. It will honor it. As you continue walking this path of restraint and growth, something subtle yet powerful begins to change inside you, a shift so quiet that the world may not notice it but your spirit feels it deeply, because you are no longer operating from lack, you are operating from alignment, and that changes everything. About the way you view love, timing, and destiny. You begin to understand that soulmate energy is not desperate, it is calm, it does not beg, it attracts, it does not manipulate circumstances, it trusts them. The version of you that once feared losing someone who was never truly available slowly dissolves, replaced by a stronger self who knows that what is written for you cannot be taken by another person's presence or absence. You stop romanticizing struggle and start valuing stability. You stop confusing intensity with compatibility. You start asking yourself deeper questions. Does this connection bring peace or confusion? Does it strengthen my character or test my boundaries in unhealthy ways? Because real soulmate love will never require you to betray yourself to keep it. And the more you grow, the clearer this becomes. You start investing your time into purpose, into discipline, into building a life so fulfilling that love becomes an addition, not a rescue. You work on your emotional intelligence, learning how to communicate without ego, how to listen without defensiveness, how to apologize without pride blocking your growth. You confront your insecurities instead of projecting them onto imaginary future partners. You heal childhood wounds that once made you chase unavailable affection. You learn to sit with silence instead of filling it with distractions. And in that stillness, you discover your worth is not defined by who chooses you but by who you choose to become. The longing that once felt unbearable transforms into motivation. Instead of stalking timelines or replaying memories, you channel that energy into self-improvement. You exercise discipline over your thoughts. You protect your standards. You refine your habits. You become selective not out of arrogance but out of clarity. Because you now understand that soulmate love requires capacity, and capacity is built in solitude. The universe is not delaying your love story, it is strengthening your foundation so when it arrives, you do not sabotage it with fear or immaturity. You realize that patience is not passive, it is active trust. It is waking up each day and choosing progress over obsession. It is resisting temporary comfort for long-term alignment. It is believing that divine timing is more intelligent than your emotions. And slowly, you feel lighter. The attachment to one specific outcome loosens. You stop forcing names into your future. You surrender faces to fate. You focus on principles instead of people. Loyalty, respect, faithfulness, emotional depth, these become your priorities. You decide that whoever walks into your life must align with these values or they simply cannot stay. That decision alone filters out chaos before it begins. You are no longer impressed by words, you watch actions. You no longer chase attention, you attract intention. You no longer fear being alone, you fear being misaligned. And that is growth. You begin to love yourself in ways you once expected others to do. You speak kindly to yourself. You forgive your past mistakes. You stop punishing yourself for feelings you could not control but actions you chose wisely. You acknowledge that meeting someone unavailable was painful, but it also revealed your strength. It proved that you could feel deeply without acting recklessly. It showed you that your morals are stronger than your impulses. And that realization builds confidence that no external validation ever could. You become the kind of person who walks into a room with quiet assurance, not because you have someone, but because you have standards. You understand that soulmate love is not rare because people cannot connect, it is rare because few are willing to do the inner work required to sustain it. But you are doing that work now. You are confronting your impatience. You are disciplining your desires. You are strengthening your faith in what cannot yet be seen. And in this season of preparation, something beautiful happens, you stop waiting anxiously and start living fully. You pursue your goals. You deepen your friendships. You strengthen your spirituality. You create memories that do not revolve around longing. And suddenly, love is no longer the center of your universe, growth is. Ironically, that is when love tends to appear. Not when you are chasing it with urgency, but when you are aligned with your purpose so completely that love becomes a natural extension of who you are. And when that aligned person finally crosses your path, you will recognize the difference instantly. There will be no moral conflict, no hidden tension, no complicated triangles. There will be clarity. There will be mutual readiness. There will be peace that does not feel fragile. You will not have to convince yourself it is right because it will not require you to compromise anything sacred. It will feel earned, not stolen. Stable, not secretive. Blessed, not burdened. And in that moment, you will understand why patience was necessary. You will see how every time you chose integrity over impulse, you were protecting this future. You will feel gratitude for the discipline that once felt heavy. You will thank the version of yourself who endured longing without losing values. Because soulmate love is not about finding someone perfect, it is about becoming someone prepared. And preparation is built in the quiet seasons no one applauds. So keep going. Keep refining. Keep trusting the unseen process shaping your destiny. The right person is not just someone you desire, they are someone whose prayers align with the work you are doing right now. And when your paths finally meet, it will not feel rushed or chaotic. It will feel like two journeys that matured separately finally merging at the exact point they were meant to. Until then, let patience polish you. Let discipline define you. Let faith anchor you. Because what is truly meant for you will never require you to lower your standards, it will rise to meet them, and somewhere along this journey, you begin to notice that the waiting no longer feels like punishment, it feels like protection, because you can now see how different you are from the version of yourself who once thought love was simply about chemistry and intensity, and this awareness humbles you in the most beautiful way. You understand now that timing is not a barrier, it is a filter, removing what is impulsive and preserving what is intentional. The more you mature, the more you realize that soulmate love is not about dramatic confessions or fighting the world to be together, it is about two people who have already fought their inner battles separately and come together without chaos trailing behind them. You reflect on the nights you almost broke your own boundaries, the moments you almost justified crossing lines because your emotions felt overwhelming, and you feel grateful that you stayed strong, because if you had chosen differently, you might have gained temporary closeness but lost long-term peace. That awareness strengthens your discipline even more. You start to value emotional safety over emotional excitement. You begin to admire consistency more than charm. You are no longer hypnotized by potential, you are grounded in principles. And with every step of growth, your standards evolve quietly. You no longer crave someone to complete you, you crave someone who complements the life you are already building. You want a partner who respects commitment as deeply as you do, someone who understands that loyalty is not situational but intentional, someone who does not run when things become uncomfortable but communicates and works through challenges with maturity. And as you hold these standards, you also hold yourself accountable to meet them. You ask yourself daily, am I becoming emotionally available? Am I learning patience? Am I developing stability? Because soulmate energy requires reciprocity. You cannot expect depth while offering inconsistency. You cannot expect security while entertaining confusion. So you align your actions with the love you desire. You clean your habits. You protect your focus. You guard your heart without hardening it. That balance is powerful, being open but not reckless, hopeful but not desperate, patient but not passive. Slowly, your confidence transforms from fragile to firm. You no longer fear missing out because you trust that what is yours cannot be taken. You no longer compare your timeline to others because you understand that rushed love often hides unresolved wounds. You start to see couples differently too. Instead of envy, you feel inspiration. Instead of impatience, you feel preparation. You know that when your time comes, you want it to be steady and honorable, not rushed and unstable. The idea of soulmate love shifts from fantasy to responsibility. You recognize that sustaining deep love requires emotional regulation, forgiveness, sacrifice, and resilience. It requires waking up every day choosing the same person even when feelings fluctuate. And that kind of consistency can only be offered by someone who has mastered themselves first. So you continue mastering yourself. You refine your mindset. You challenge negative patterns. You strengthen your relationship with faith, trusting that divine timing is weaving connections you cannot yet see. You stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling your effort. You stop obsessing over who will love you and focus on how well you can love when the time is right. That subtle shift changes your energy completely. You radiate calm assurance instead of anxious longing. You speak about love with hope instead of frustration. You carry yourself with the dignity of someone who knows they are becoming rare. And rare recognizes rare. When two prepared souls finally meet, there is no rush to prove, no desperation to secure, no fear-based attachment. There is simply mutual understanding. And that understanding is built during seasons like this one, seasons where you choose growth over gratification. You begin to appreciate solitude because it teaches you independence. You become grateful for unanswered prayers because they redirected you. You accept that some connections were meant to awaken you, not accompany you forever. And instead of feeling like you lost something, you feel like you gained clarity. You gained strength. You gained self-respect. The version of you who once feared ending up alone now understands that being alone with integrity is far better than being entangled in something misaligned. You value peace too much to gamble it for temporary emotion. And in this maturity, you find a quiet joy. You are no longer in a hurry because you trust the author of your story. You believe that when the right person arrives, they will not conflict with your morals, they will confirm them. They will not test your boundaries in harmful ways, they will respect them naturally. They will not require you to hide your love, they will celebrate it openly. And when that day comes, you will be ready, not just excited, but ready. Ready to communicate. Ready to compromise. Without losing yourself. Ready to build something that lasts because it was constructed on patience and preparation, not impulse and secrecy. Until then, you continue walking your path with quiet confidence. You continue saying no to what feels wrong even when it feels intense. You continue trusting that delayed alignment is better than immediate regret. You remind yourself that soulmate love is not late, it is precise. It arrives when both people have become strong enough to protect it. And right now, you are becoming that strength. Every disciplined decision, every boundary honored, Every lonely night spent choosing growth over temptation is shaping you into someone capable of holding sacred love without fear. So do not rush this process. Do not resent this season. Embrace it. Because when your soulmate finally stands in front of you, free and aligned and ready, you will not just recognize them, you will recognize yourself too, and you will know that the wait was never about deprivation, it was about transformation. And now, as you stand at the edge of everything you have learned, you finally understand that this journey was never about losing someone, it was about finding yourself. Because every emotion you felt, every boundary you honored, every night you chose dignity over desire was shaping you into a person who can love without fear and commit without confusion. You no longer see that past connection as a missed opportunity, you see it as a mirror that reflected your depth back to you. It showed you how deeply you could feel, but it also showed you how strong you could stand. It proved that you are not controlled by impulse, that your values are not negotiable, that your integrity is stronger than temporary emotion. And that realization changes the way you carry yourself moving forward. You stop questioning why certain doors did not open and start trusting that closed doors were redirections, not rejections. You understand that soulmate love is not something you steal from circumstance, it is something that arrives in alignment with it. You no longer want a love that begins in secrecy or moral conflict. You want a love that feels clean, open, and blessed from the start. You want a partner who meets you in wholeness, not in complication. And because you have taken the time to grow, you are no longer afraid of waiting. Waiting does not intimidate you anymore because you are not idle, you are evolving. You are building emotional maturity, strengthening your discipline, deepening your faith. You are becoming stable enough to handle the responsibility of real love. Because that is what soulmate love truly is, responsibility. It is choosing the same person on ordinary days, during disagreements, through stress and change. It is protecting the bond even when temptation exists. It is honoring promises not because you feel like it in the moment, but because your character demands consistency. And now you are ready for that kind of commitment because you have practiced it alone first. You practiced loyalty when no one was watching. You practiced restraint when no one would have known. You practiced patience when it felt easier to chase. And those private victories matter more than any romantic confession ever could. You realized that the universe was not withholding love from you, it was refining you for it. If you had received your forever person too early, you might have mishandled them with insecurity or immaturity. But now, you are different. You are calmer, clearer, stronger. You understand that real love will not create anxiety, it will create stability. It will not leave you confused about where you stand, it will offer reassurance without games. It will not demand that you shrink your morals, it will admire you for them. And when that person arrives, there will be no triangles, no guilt, no hidden messages, no what-ifs attached to someone else's life. There will only be two people meeting freely, fully, and consciously. And in that moment, everything will make sense. The connections that did not work out will feel like necessary chapters. The heartbreak will feel like training. The waiting will feel purposeful. You will look back and thank yourself for not settling, for not interfering with someone else's vows, for not forcing destiny with desperate hands. Because The love standing in front of you will not feel chaotic, it will feel like home without conflict. It will feel like two souls who did the work separately and are now capable of building something sacred together. And you will enter that relationship not from a place of fear of losing them, but from a place of gratitude for finding them at the right time. You will not cling, you will commit. You will not rush, you will build. You will not doubt your worth, you will know it. That is the reward of choosing integrity over impulse. That is the blessing of patience. That is the peace that comes when love arrives aligned with your values. So if you ever question whether the wait was worth it, remember who you became because of it. Remember the strength you developed, the clarity you gained, the discipline you built. Remember that you chose to protect something sacred even when your heart wanted otherwise. That decision alone changed your future. And now, as this chapter closes, you carry forward a quiet confidence. What is meant for you will meet you when you are ready, and you are ready not because you found someone, but because you found yourself. Soulmate love is not late. It is precise. And when it finally arrives, it will not test your integrity, it will honor it.